It feels so good right now to be a Forest fan as we've just tonked Leicester by 3-1 and we sit 5th in the Premier League. And I can't get this smile off my face. Welcome to the post-match reaction. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well. And welcome to my slept on it thoughts, really, of Leicester City 1, Forest 3. If you're enjoying the content, if you're still smiling from last night, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Forest Fan TV. And I'm going to have a quick haircut for 30 seconds as we have a quick word from our sponsors. Micarera is a game-changing website where you can invest in players, a bit like you can buy stocks in a stock market. But the beauty of this is it's based on your football knowledge and which players you think are going to make it. You can buy and sell completely securely and completely safely on their platform with just a click of a button. So go sign up to Micarera right now. It's completely free to do. And go start making yourself some money on your football knowledge with Micarera.com. Right, make sure you check out Micarera and let's start talking about yesterday. I mean, I was saying on the player ratings yesterday, I don't even feel words are needed. Like, I just think we need to all take a moment and just reflect back where we have been, you know, and give Cooper credit. He, along with Marinak, has put the foundations there in the first place. But this is why I was Cooper out for so long, because I could see his limitations. And bringing in someone with the experience of Nuno, who needed a pre-season, which is what we were saying all of last year when Nuno took over. Let him have the pre-season. Let him build his team. Let him condense the squad. Let him get his philosophies in. And we're now seeing this on the pitch. Forest is still unbeaten away from home. Forest are 5th in the league. Forest can only go as down as 8th. If Brighton, I think Newcastle and Spurs don't all get wins, then Forest could stay where they are. This is such a good time right now to be a Forest fan. Let's not get ahead of ourselves because there are many rocky roads still to go. But let's always take note and think about where we've come from. Those goddamn years in the Championship. And now, not only are we in the Premier League, we're competing in the top half of it. And my biggest takeaway is, where's the respect? And I'm not talking internally, I'm talking externally. I saw Jamie Carragher before the match going on about how, yeah, I expected Forest to struggle, but I don't think they will now this season. Well, Carragher, why don't you say what you actually said? And that was that you had Forest down for relegation. It's funny how you slightly choose your words to suit your narrative there, to try and cover your back because you want to look like some super pundits. Forest are not in a relegation fight right now. Forest are not being talked about in the same breath. And when Forest come up against these relegation fodder teams like Leicester, then we need to dispatch them. And that's exactly what we did yesterday. Look, I'll give Leicester some credit. I thought they played quite well in the first half. Clearly, they reverted back to Enzo Maresco ball from last season. And clearly, as I said to Chappie at half-time, Cooper's going to talk to them and Cooper's going to turn them into Cooper ball. And that's exactly what we saw. How many times did we see over the last couple of seasons Forest coming out at halftime and conceding a stupid goal or an early goal or something like that? And I just felt it coming. It's just, you know, it's no coincidence that we saw that. And we saw clearly as well that even from the stands, Nuno has more tactical awareness, more nous, more everything than Cooper. This was 100% the correct decision. And this should finally end any debate, if there's any left, that Nuno is better than Cooper in the Premier League. Look, don't care about Cooper, don't care about Leicester. I care about Forest. And Nuno is probably the best thing that's happened in this last year, alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. That player, I mean, how many times have we talked about him post-match and what he does and what he produces? Sometimes he does nothing for the match and just bangs one in. Sometimes he's fully involved in the match. And yesterday, man, I thought he was sensational. He really was. And his post-match interview brims of confidence, brims of class, brims of a player that's in control, that knows what he's going to do. And that first goal for me was just out of this world. The way he just turned. Look, you would expect if you saw Chris Wood's FIFA card, his agility and balance probably in the 50s or 60s. But he turned around like he was Vinny Jr. yesterday and just bangs it in. And he talked about it post-match saying, I just knew where the goal was. He's got that sixth sense, that striker sense there. And we've all seen the stats about the goals under Nuno, how he's scored the third most since Nuno's come over. But forget that stat. He is the second highest top goal scorer right now in the Premier League, only behind Haaland, who we all know deep down inside is a Forest fan because of his dad. So everything is going smoothly and sensationally right now. Look, let's be objective for a second. We were like a donut in that first half. There was just nothing in the middle. I thought the attacking side of the midfield was too far away from the defensive side, and it left that donutty shape in the middle that Leicester were able to exploit, especially with Ricardo Pereira inverting in. But Nuno addressed it. Probably from the stands, he could see the gap. He could see the hole there, and he addressed it. And I'm just so happy. Like, there's so much we can talk about. There really is. Like, Morato, I want to give him some flowers, man. I think he's undervalued and underrated, not necessarily by the Forest fan base, but just football in general. He hasn't conceded a goal. He hasn't seen that net bulge behind Sells once since he's come on the pitch at any time this season. And I just now start to feel confident that when Forest have a lead, that we're going to go on to win the match. We're definitely not going to lose it. Well, I say that now. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? But it's just a weird feeling. And it's a nice feeling. It's not one I've been used to in years. Maybe the promotion season. Even when we're behind a few matches and that, you'd always expect us to come back in. But outside of that, come on, man. You got to almost go back to the Van Hooijdonk season, where you just felt Forest were going to, just charge on and win. So it's so nice to have that feeling back again. And the real question is, where do we finish? Because I got laughed and mocked for saying Forest would finish 8th. I'm now looking at it thinking, did I predict too low? Because we know Forest will be written off. We know what the narrative will now be. Oh, as we saw with Pardew, so Forest are in a false position. All this stuff. People will say that Forest are going to drop off. But if we continue to play the way we're playing, and let's not forget, we're missing Sangare, we're missing Danilo, Morgan Gibbs-White wasn't selected in the squad yesterday. Key players, you could argue that's the midfield in itself. But then you have players that are stepping in. I thought Ryan Yates yesterday was fantastic. He stopped the silly, falling over stuff he did. He only did it once yesterday and got straight back up. And then he scored a lovely goal with a great finish. He needs a lot of credit for his performance yesterday. Yes, I'll criticize him when he's bad, but when I think a player's played good, I'm more than happy to give them their flowers. I thought he was brilliant. Okay, Murillo and Milenkovic, got broken by Vardy, but the Leicester fans are now trying to tell me, oh, what happened to M&M? They're treating it like a victory. You still lost 3-1. I don't care if we won 7-4 or 1-0 or whatever. We get the 3 points. We move on. We beat the relegation fodder teams and we focus on the teams in and around us now. Like, I still think at some stage we are going to see some kind of Forest doing a Forest. But I feel like it's less likely now with Murillo in charge, with Nuno in charge. He just knows this Premier League. We talk about his Premier League record. Loads on here. 7th, 7th, 13th. Fantastic performances under Wolves. And whoever wants to say what he did against Spurs, don't forget, he beat Man City. He beat Arsenal. Spurs were top under him for a period. Manager of the month. The man knows the Premier League. He knows what it takes. He knows what he has to do. And I just feel really happy for him as well, because let's face it, it was a hard job for him to come into under PSR, under, a legend in Cooper being sacked and he being the replacement. He had it all against him. And I still think that Liverpool win was so big for him, because I think that was the moment where the entire fan base was like, right, this is the man. This is the man. He's given us that moment that has made everyone forget about, you know, the status of Cooper and what have you. And now Nuno, this is Nuno's Forest now, is what I'm trying to say. Is the football the most attractive? No. Is it good though? Yes. 100% it is. Because there's a difference between low block, mid block, and the mid block counter attack that we're doing. And it's exactly as I predicted. I thought Cooper would have to go all out attack. You know, this is against his former club. I could understand why he'd want to do it. His ego on it, his pride on it, and everything else. And it played into our hands, especially in that second half. And, you know, we just have a way of winning, and teams are now going to hate playing against Forest. But it's going to be an interesting change because we're going to see teams now not targeting Forest. And what do I mean by that? You may have seen it in our preview when we played Southampton, for example, where I was speaking to Sorry Mike, and he was saying we're looking at this Forest game as a game we need to target and we need to win. Leicester would have felt the same yesterday. All the other, you know, relegation-y, low-ranking teams would look the same, Crystal Palace, etc. We need to target this, we need to win. Now their mentality is going to change. It's going to be a case of, this is going to be a tough one. We'll be happy with a draw. A point away, you know, a point away at Forest is a good result. And that's where we're going to find out what the next phase is for Forest. What happens in those games where a team doesn't want to have the ball? They want us to have the ball, and then we need to break down their low block or their mid block or whatever defensive setup they do. And I'm actually excited to see how Nuno deals with that and what solutions, because that's his favorite word, he comes up with. But guys, it is a good time to be a Forest fan right now, and I'm just loving life. I really am. No weekend ruined. In fact, Forest get the win before technically the weekend starts, and we can just sit back, light the cigars, and see what our competitors do. The likes of Arsenal, the likes of Villa, the likes of Newcastle, all those at the right end of the table. Look, we might have a Forest phone-in later on tonight to get your views, and then Grumpy Old Reds on Sunday. So if you want a phone-in where you guys can come on and have your say, we haven't had one for a couple of weeks, and I'm really eager to hear your guys' thoughts. So we'll set one up hopefully for tonight, and then maybe push Grumpy Old Reds till tomorrow. I'll figure it out with the boys. But if you've enjoyed the content, as always, please don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. And keep smiling. Enjoy your weekend. We'll keep the content coming your way. Come on, you Reds.